Hello there, good evening and welcome along for the first time during the season at least. This is 4-0 Sunday Live. Tonight myself and this wonderful panel we're here until 8 p.m. to get through all the action from yesterday. Loads of talking points from that. We'll chat Tino Anjorin, we'll chat Jensen Weir, we'll look ahead to next weekend's trip to Leyton Orient too. Very busy show as usual. A very good evening to Gaz all the way from Malta, Little Reese and Dilla back. Hopefully Mr. Fish Tank is going to be joining us soon. Dill's not quite back, but he's I'm sure he'll return shortly. That was perfect timing. We're raring and ready to go, as are you in the comment section down below. I believe it is so good to have you all with us. Hello to Dan, who says good evening and welcome to you. Normal Sunday evening service is resuming. Hello to Jack. Hello to PFC Matt. And good evening to Graham. Gaz is looking sharp. He is looking sharp. Should we start with the merchandise, mate? How are we looking?
Yeah, nice, man. I thought I'd treat myself to a nice early Christmas present, ready for the trip's over for when I come over. Yeah, it fits nice, good quality, so I'm happy with that. It's not a sticked-on 125-year emblem. It's actually embroidered. So let's not talk about badges tonight, shall we? Because it's Badgegate.
No more badges, please. I saw it in person loads of times. I'm surprised by how many people are actually wearing it as well, because in all, I know we're very impartial here on Fournilwrittenalloverit, but the word honking comes to mind. Reese, long time no see. It is little Reese's birthday tomorrow, everybody. So big happy birthday to you. Got that in there within 3 minutes of the stream. So there we go. Mate, nice to see you. How you doing? How's your Sunday been?
Yeah, it's been nice, thanks, mate. It started to rain a little bit earlier on, but other than that, it's been a really nice day. Been to Big Tesco's for a little shop and got a birthday cake, so happy days, really.
No, I won't say that. That's not very nice.
Yeah. Has it gone yet? Yeah, most of it has gone, actually, because it was really nice. If that's what you was going to ask. But there is still some left for the family. Not too much, but there is enough for them.
Dill, welcome back to 4-0 Sunday Live, mate.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, as always,
He's on a bit of a delay. But it's all good. We'll crack on as we will. Welcome to all of you as well. Thank you for being with us. Hello to Dono, who says play at Pompey from Thailand. My second favourite foursome, says Jake. So there we go. I wonder what his favourite foursome is. I'm sure we can leave that up to interpretation. Bob says, good evening all. Great to have you back. Great to have you back with us as well, Bob. And Retro Shirt Sean on Facebook says happy birthday for tomorrow, Reese. Pompey X's and O says, evening, gents. I hope the praise remains sensible and calls for a starting League One spots for a number of subs yesterday. Do not peak too early. Gary says, buenas tardes, chicos. Loving the new start to the season. Hope to see a few of you at Orient. Feliz cumpleaños to little Reese. And right on cue, I'm sorry I didn't make you a proper. Oh no. Maybe I did. Let's. Oh no, that's for 4 guests, isn't it? So I won't be able to see you. But very quickly, we'll just give it one of those. Come and say hello to everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm all good. It's lovely to see the smiling faces.
We can't see your smiling face, unfortunately. If you just want to take a little, there we go. We can just about see your smile a little bit. There we go. That's what we like to see. Hello to you. Welcome. Thank you for being with us. Just quickly before we get back to the boys, what did you make of the opening day?
Well, had we won the game 5-1, with the chances we had, we probably should have done.
Are you talking if buts and maybes again?
No, I'm talking, had we won it 5-1, we'd all be able to top saying we're going to win the league. So luckily, it was a good draw for us, I think. And it was a good leveler to say, actually, we are a good team. Second half, especially, when Sadie came on, I thought that was absolutely ginormous, man. Brilliant. And I fancy it. I fancy it this season now. I really do, after that. But I'm not going to say win it. I'm going to say within the top 6.
Nice. So you're happy top 6 is a possibility off the back of what you saw yesterday?
Yeah, I think so. The second half especially. Not anything more than the second half.
Nothing in the first half gave me top 6 vibes, if I'm honest with you. No. Well, before we get chatting to everyone, welcome to Brian who joins us. Jack says that the Invincibles are still on, Dill. To be fair, it's a very good point. The Invincibles are still on. One Rovers Vlogs is in. He said, definitely take the point yesterday. Gutted we conceded so late. I believe it was the 92nd minute. Speaking of conceding so late, I think it's about time we took a look back for the first time this season at all of yesterday's action. Are you moving my keys around and making a noise? I think you are. All of yesterday's action from and all the best bits from our day out at Fratton Park for the first time in 90 days. For the first time this season, a very good morning, Andrew.
Yeah, morning, Tom.
No, it's back.
New season.
It's
Looking
back.
forward to this one.
New door, new era. Different feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it all summer. There's so many new players coming in. I'm unsure, I'm unconfident. You just don't know what today's going to be like.
New season, forget about last year. It doesn't matter about last year now, does it? It's already gone.
The long and the short of it is, I think top 6 is the minimum. Anything after that's a bonus.
We are going up. I said we are going up. We are going up.
There's a lot of things need addressing, but there's also a lot of things been solved. We're not playing well, but you can see it will gel together eventually.
Yengi, a man from down under, scoring goals for Pompey, and I can't say the rest of it because we won't get this on YouTube.
Better performance in the second half. Referee was poor. The weather wasn't too clever for either side either, was it? So credit to Bristol Rovers. They came and did a job on us.
Some golden opportunities missed as well, but ultimately it's not enough at the moment, and that needs to be a game that Pompey go on to win, because you don't want to look back at the end of the season. And I think today could have been a win. You think about hitting the post, you think about various moments, you think about Gavin White's chance in the first half, all these different kind of facets of the game. Unbeaten this season. Very important to remember that. And as Jack said there, Invincibles is still on. Invincibles, I say unbeaten, so Invincibles, maybe the point to which you're on that argument is, might all come crashing down next weekend. But nice to look back on yesterday afternoon. Gaz, I'm sure seeing Fratton Park back rocking as it was there, particularly I thought pre-match atmosphere was amazing. And of course, when things got going, really mobilised the group. And actually, it's interesting to see the chances flourishing from the atmosphere in the stands really build, and that extra 5-10% that we have been used to. You must be getting even more excited to get back over and back the boys in a couple of short weeks' time.
Yeah. Looking forward to coming back. I mean, predominantly, I go to the away games, because I know Fratton Park is a great place to go and watch football. But for me, I like the away days. I like meeting up with you, some new boys and girls and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's good that the football season's back now. It was good to get at least one game under our belts now, isn't it? So it gave us an insight to what was pretty much a disappointing pre-season for me. I thought we didn't play great, did we? So even yesterday in the first half, we were almost like pre-season mode as well. Still trying to get to know each other, still trying to work out, where's best position for people. And again, these relationships will come on. It took a while to kick in, but as a previous manager said, it was a good way not to lose, shall we say. I'm glad we didn't lose. It was at least it's a point on the board. But yeah, loads to work on. But as we'll probably touch on again, first half, second half, night and day. It's the same as last season. We had like this first half team or a second half team. We don't seem to be consistent for the 40 minutes, for the 90 minutes. But yeah, great to see the 4-0 boys back on the videos, and great to be back now. So yeah, buzz in.
Can I just ask?
You're going to need to get a little bit closer because we won't be able to hear you.
I just want to ask Fish Tank a question.
He's only just got here. To give him a chance.
I just want to ask.
Hello, Fish Tank. How are you?
I just want to ask Fish Tank.
Yeah. Knackered, but getting there.
Fish Tank, is that or is that not a massive piano behind you?
Well, I've actually had to come upstairs to the bedroom because tonight there's too many dogs downstairs, and yeah, it's just too noisy, and I'll be muting myself every 30 seconds. So Daisy's got her best mate round, and he's a massive cockapoo. And it's just, I had to take him out for a quick walk to knacker him out, but it's just got worse because Reese has just got home. So they're jumping about. So I'm upstairs for a change. So Fish Tank will be back, but not this week, unfortunately.
Well, it's lovely to have you with us, mate. We've just starting to get cracking into our conversation on yesterday as well. We'll get through a couple of the key points. We've got some stats to flash up on the screen, and I'd be great to hear some of you guys in the comment section down below who might have been at the game or saw the game or seen the highlights and want to get your point across. Jeff said, "Hello, gents. Not panicking yet, but I'm very concerned about a lack of scoring." So that's interesting. Donna said, "First game of the season, second half was fantastic. Let them gel, and things can only get better for us." Yankee to start. 100%. Dill, should we start with Yengi then, with you? I mean, he's a man that has got unbelievable strength that we saw yesterday. Didn't take him a lot, as we'll get into on the goal specifically, to actually get up and head that home. What did you make of the contribution he made? Because it only took him 10 minutes and then he bagged one.
Well, since coming on, I mean, it was him and Sadie, but when he came on, you could tell that he wanted the ball and, he's more areas, and he puts himself about really well. And obviously, when that ball was crossed into him and he got his head on it, it must have been a great feeling for him. But I think he should definitely have more minutes off the bench, if not be starting on the wing or up top for us.
I think you definitely see him involved on Tuesday night, I would have thought as well, just to kind of get him a couple more minutes at least. Birthday boy, what did you reckon overall yesterday? We spoke just before the game, in our pre-match chat, that you said yesterday isn't worth watching and be here for, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. We said how you were celebrating and the goal going in and missed most of the celebrations. I for sure know that you did not miss the goal. I'd be interested to see what you thought of that from your perspective, where you were sat.
Well, the pressure was piling on him in that second half. We've touched on obviously Yengi and Sadie coming on and making an impact, but actually I was really impressed with Sparks coming on. He was getting balls into the box, and I don't know if he was playing in his natural position, was he not? Because where he came on, was he not more attacking on the side rather than as his natural left back position that he's played before? And actually, the difference with Sparks is that he was taking on the man and actually being successful getting crosses in. I just had this feeling that we were going to score eventually, but it was just a shame that it was so late on that we couldn't grab a second one after that. Because going off the first half performance, yes, you could, discuss it all when there's people saying Messino out already, which is a bit of a joke, really. We've seen over pre-season as well, coming into this game, we've gone to pretty much all of them. And apart from AFC Wimbledon and Bristol City, you haven't actually seen the starting 11 play together for a whole 90 minutes. So you have to take that, into consideration when thinking about the first game. There's 45 games to go, but the fighting spirit in the second half to get the goal back and not to lose the game in front of everybody, and a lot of them for their debuts to actually get used to the Fratton faithful was really, really pleasing if you're going off the second half performance.
Some great debuts. We'll get into that in more detail. Luke said new player today or tomorrow, it seems. Tino, do we think? If not, who would you like to see? Luke, we have got a dedicated 5-10 minutes later on in the hour, so stick with us till 8 o'clock and we'll get into that by all means. Dawn said on Facebook, evening lads, happy birthday for tomorrow. Re-season has started. Hopefully we will get better. Hello to Joe, who says he was happy with the first game, and Yengi will score a lot of goals this season from Dom Pompey Geezers. Dom Pompey Geezers, I reckon you'll bang on with that one, mate. Absolutely. Gaz, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. There's been people concerned over the midfield, and I was very glad from where we were sat that it was changed at half-time. And I actually think, and we'll get on to inspired substitutions in a little bit, but I really like how Messino used his bench yesterday. Obviously, with no disrespect to Tom Lowry, but there was something that wasn't working. Tom Lowry and Joe Morel, although fantastic alongside Marlon Pack. And when you look at it kind of hypothetically, perhaps you think those are probably the three best midfielders that you'd want in your side. If you could pick and choose, you'd probably go for them, even maybe as a kind of a division thing, not just at Pompey. But what do you think the reason is for it not quite working? Because for some reason, last weekend against Bristol City, we saw them struggle. Brilliant half hour at MK Dons last season before Joe Morel got sent off. It didn't quite click yesterday, and it meant that we had to change it. So what would you be addressing? What do you think's gone wrong, and how do we change it moving forward?
Well, it's obviously got to go back to the training field, obviously, but because he's got to work, he's got to obviously have his first 11 in the midfield. The problem yesterday, I think we got a bit bullied in midfield as well. Joe Morrell, he's a great little player, but for me, he's a yellow card potential and a red card at the moment. I like the passion. Don't get me wrong, but he just seems like like a headless chicken sometimes. It's like sometimes it's like playing with 10 men instead of 11. Lowry unfortunately looked a bit weak yesterday, like a boy against men. Pat can only do so much in the midfield, but yeah, we weren't picking our runners up yesterday. We were getting overloaded in the midfield, and yeah, we need that. I don't know. Maybe Bishop could have done a bit more defensively, but then obviously we need him more forward going forward as well. So yeah, I can't quite put my. I mean, there's obviously new players coming in as well. So there was only 4 new players on that team yesterday from last season, really. Obviously, the goalkeeper, one in defence, and White and Scully. But yeah, it's going to take time to gel. That's the main thing. And like I say, there's no Messino out. It's ridiculous. These people are deluded. It's one game. Look at Derby. Are they calling Derby out there? Because they lost to Wigan. It's ridiculous times. It's one game, and there's positives. Yes, it was great for the Fratton faithful to see the boys in blue, but yeah, it's going to take time, and we've got to be patient. We were in a better place this season, squad-wise, I think, than we were for last season. Because last season we didn't have that much, I would think, impact players coming off the bench. Yesterday we had total impact players coming on, and they wanted it. It looks like they're almost playing for their starting 11. So it's going to be interesting who starts. Obviously, they've got the Forest Green game first, but who starts against Orient next week? I think it'll be a different team again.
Yeah, he's still trying to work out exactly what he wants to do, doesn't he? Dill, let's talk about Regan Paul. What an exceptional defender and a brilliant debut at Fratton Park, showing all the passion when the goal went in as well.
Yeah, he is mustard, as Jake would say. And he is also, as Jake said, the captain without the armband. I saw from where I was, when we conceded or when we'd lose the ball and it got for a goal kick, he was, telling Pack what to do and stuff like that, which is something that I don't think we've seen in the last 2 seasons, because Raggett's not going to go and do that. But yeah, he was quality. When he lost the ball and won it back straight away, it was very, very, very nice to see, because I feel very trusted with him at the back. So thanks, Jake.
Yeah, thanks very much. And I'm going to speak to him later on, but I reckon, particularly watching some of the extended highlights for Lincoln yesterday, they could do with someone like Regan Paul at the back at the minute. So it's interesting to see how the turns table. Aaron, I want to speak to you about Gavin White, albeit he got the ball stuck under his feet for the goal that you may or may not have seen in the kind of the look back clip. He did come really close to scoring himself twice on 2 occasions. There's one in the first half that's literally, I remember saying it was a ball's width wide of the post, which is really upsetting, because if that hits the upright and goes into a box of Pompey players alongside some Bristol Rovers defenders, you never know what's quite going to happen there. And he let fly from, I want to say, 20, 25 yards and really tested their keeper in the second half. So all in all, not a bad display for me, but obviously people will bemoan him for not letting the goal go in, but you know what I mean, making the mistake to contribute. Crikey, I need to sort my words out. I don't know. Contribute to the mistake of the goal. What did you think of him as a whole yesterday?
Not too bad. It's the same as the whole team, really. I think at the first half, the nerves were there, because first game of the season, first game at Fratton Park, loads of new players there, the owners sitting there watching as well, and no one really wants to make a mistake, and you don't want to lose your first game of the season. Like Gaz said, you've got to give this team time, because this year we haven't got loan players in. We've actually signed all these players, and every single one of them players that played yesterday, you can see the potential there. Yeah, we're going to make mistakes, but it's the first game of the season. In about 3-4 weeks' time, there won't be them sort of mistakes. They'll be blasting the ball 25, 30 yards, and we'll be scoring all these goals. But we just got to give them time. There's so much potential in this team, and it's nice to actually say, well, we're going to lose this player at January because he's a loan. We've signed all these players. It's amazing. It's the best transfer window I can ever remember. But then there's some players there, like the midfields. We've got to make sure that midfield's right. I can actually see another couple of midfield players coming in before transfer window goes. but hopefully this team, once they get back in the training field and everything, Mourinho's going to get them work.
Oh,
Oh,
I
He's
think
just
we've
gone.
lost him.
he's gone.
Oh, he's back. Hello.
I think everyone just went. What happened there?
I think your dog chewed on the wireless wire, mate, or something like that. Or...
Oh dear, yeah. But no, you can see there's physical presence, and like the defence yesterday as well. I liked how he was bossing the defence and shouting at Pack and everything. You need that. You need someone in charge of defence, someone in charge of midfield, and someone in charge of strikers. Plus, you've got the captain as well. So they've all got their little areas, and they all work together as a team. If you've just got one person trying to boss the whole thing, it's not going to work. You need that little sense going forward.
Sam Branch says, tinted glasses on, we should be winning games like this. Mr. Pompey 991 said, Pack was well off it yesterday. Looks like he's lost his legs. Let the runner go for the goal. Steve said, Pack at fault for the first goal, not tracking his runner. And there's a couple of comments regarding Mike. Well, this one regards Mike. Mike said, time shall we give them all season again? And I think that is maybe pointing to maybe a little bit of perhaps indecision when it was going wrong last season, or even the kind of the fact that things need time. It is one game, but I can appreciate what Mike's saying is the stuck in the rut of the 7 seasons and all that kind of thing. We'll get on to big picture later on. Reece, Gaz was mentioning it just a couple of minutes ago. Part of the advantage of having a big squad is that you can change things if they're not working, and we certainly benefited from that yesterday, didn't we, with the 4 changes that he made, that equally 4 in measure I thought contributed to coming away with a point, and if not maybe something we may have deserved a little bit more.
Well, it's strength and depth, and you've got players that are very versatile that can play in different positions. You had Towler come off, didn't you, for, was it Sparks? So then you obviously had Ogilvie still at the back. So when it comes to versatility in the squad now, you've got players that can make shift throughout a game, and depending on how the game's going and the way that we're structured up against the other team. But yeah, strength and depth is exactly there. I mean, we're crying out still for an 8 or a 10 role in the team. You can clearly see that, the creativity side of things. But I'm really, really pleased with the players that we've got in currently in the different positions. I think Sadie coming on yesterday to play 2 up top, and obviously play up top with Bishop was really, really good. And then obviously you got Yengi coming on to make a difference as well. It gives them, a whole load of trouble when they're so used to players such as Bishop that has now been in League One for a few seasons and they know what it's about. But when you're still fresh in the mind with players like Yengi that no one knows about, and you've got Sadie so young, you don't know the potential they're going to obviously rip up League One. You never know, they could do. So it's, fantastic. We've got strength and depth in different positions at the moment.
And Gaz, you talk about inspired substitutions. During Messino's 24 games in charge, 8 goal contributions have been made from the subs used. Our friends at Pompey Data reckon that equals roughly an extra 9 points added to our tally. Interesting to see where that ends up as the weeks go on. It seems like an important element to the game, particularly at Fratton if we end up chasing a game, of course.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and that's why that's why you have squad players. Because obviously you have your, once it does have a start 11, it's all about a togetherness in the dressing room. There's going to be players that won't play week in, week out unless there's going to be injuries. So at the moment we have all these nice signed players. Like Aaron said, there's no one on loan, so they can't just play till January and go. They're actually here for a good few years. So now this is something to build on. And yeah, looking at the bench now, we even going forward now, we look stronger, we look fitter than we did in the second half, which can only be encouraging signs going forward. Again, Bristol Rovers are no walkover. We know that, but we could have won that game. It was nice to see that we were taking shots outside the box. We weren't just trying to walk in. We're actually testing the goalkeeper a bit more than what we have done in the past. There's loads of positives. Again, it's just going to take time. That's all.
Danny Ward said, Pack can't play in a 2-man midfield, get overrun every time, has to be Morel and Stevenson for me. Grizz said the second half showed that there is lots to be excited for. Terry Russell says, let's get one thing absolutely right. We don't have time to gel. They've had time in Spain, as Mourinho said in his interviews in pre-season. We have to get out of this league. No excuses. Play up Pompey. Classic example of a game of 2 halves, as Gaz rightly said at the top of the show. People rightly bemoaning the first half performance still, but second half, I thought we were really gritty and determined, and the crowd certainly responded to that and helped us, I think, massively in getting that equaliser late on. What did you think? Oh,
Me? Is it me?
It's you, mate. It's you.
Oh, right, sorry. The crowd getting behind the boys was quality. When they all came out, I think that's the loudest I've heard Fratton since I've been properly going. I don't think it was like that last season. I think for the fans, it's more. Well, everyone says, "Oh, I'm not going to renew," but they will always renew. And I think what Mourinho's done with transfers, it's brought excitement back, and I think that reflected with how loud we were, and then we did get our just rewards for the goal. But I think yeah, if there's more of that to come this season and with the atmosphere, then I'll be very, very happy.
Joe said you always get people running down the lads. Should have everyone getting behind the lads now. Play at Pompey. Joe, I don't think anyone, at least on the panel, is running down the lads. Everyone's entitled to what they want to say in the comments. I think everyone's just got really high expectations of what this group could and should achieve this season, given the golden opportunity. Let's chat about the goal then. Big shout out to Abu Kamara. He's so crucial for the goal, and we'll see it here. A bit Sky Sports-esque for you, but here we go. Completely shows Marquis the wrong way, which I love. Yeah, he's a little fortunate with the challenge there. There's a foul in there too. Still regains control. Then it's a little see you later on the turn there. Lovely footwork. You can see the box is congested. There's the ball out to Rafferty. Stands one up to the back post. Cassini can see that it's going over Colby's head, and then it's just a postage stamp right where the keeper can't get it, and then he sends the Fratton Park roof comes off. Brilliant move. Lovely bit of passion from Sadie and Regan Paul, as we said there, who are looking well at home. Speaking of Sadie Reese, I thought he was awesome yesterday. Dan described him in the video as a powerhouse, and he's exactly that. First half, Colby would win a header and it would fall into an empty gap. Second half, Sadie comes on and plays off each of those balls that Colby won, and we were so much better as a result.
I was so surprised, as well as everybody around me, that Joe Morrell got given man of the match yesterday when it was announced. Sadie came on and he changed the game. Not obviously from the amount of shots he's had or anything, but just his presence. You know, holding up the ball, trying a bit of skill, his passion for obviously getting the fans going. I think we got given a corner and all he did was go straight to the Fratton end and try to urge them to get behind the team even more. And I think that's the passion that we need throughout the season. And if you're going to have somebody alongside Bishop or coming on for Bishop and vice versa, somebody like Sadie that brings a little bit different attributes to Bishop, that's exactly what we've been looking out for.
Aaron, he worked so hard, didn't he, Sadie, when he came on as well? I felt like he was everywhere for those minutes that we saw him on the pitch.
Yeah, he breath of fresh air, really. I think he was the sort of missing link we were missing last season. We needed that passion from a player to actually get the fans behind him, get into the positions, be everywhere. And that was what we were missing last year. So hopefully he's going to have an outstanding season. So, yeah, all fair play to him. He was everywhere and he battles. He does like to battle. So, yeah, all fair play to him. I just hope that he can actually progress and get better and better throughout the next couple of months. And a quick thing about what everyone was saying about gelling in pre-season. Pre-season is where you see what your players are like, what positions they can play. It'd be lovely to win every single game in pre-season, but it's an experimental phase. With the true start of the season started yesterday. So now we get the team together. Now we put them in the right positions and everything. So pre-season is fantastic going there, but I'd rather just look at the team when the season starts. I know everyone's up in arms already, like Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. It was in meltdown yesterday, and it was just ridiculous. So the season started now. I'm not worried at all. Give it a couple of months, and then you'll see the difference in this team from pre-season. I just had to do that little rant. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I think we're all in agreement with you. I think it is very easy, and it's much harder to be positive about a group that's not quite there yet than it is to be negative about a group that's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
I think that's a really easy thing to do. And Dill, what we're just saying there, when you look at our average positioning on the screen there, it would make sense what I was saying. First half at the top of your screen, second half at the bottom. Number 15 there, Sadie, coming in and playing off Colby, works so much better. Look at that number 19 down the bottom there, playing as high as you like, Cassini Yengi. Great to see.
Yeah, well, it sort of reminded me a bit of Pigott last season, where he was floating off of Bishop. Bishop would knock it down to him, and then Pigott would either go out wide or try and find Bishop again, which I think is the best formation we played last season. because without a second striker or a number 10 or whatever you want to call it, Bishop's so isolated. Like you saw yesterday, Norris would pump the ball up to him and he'd flick on a header, but the wide men were too wide and Morel or Lowry weren't close enough to him to receive the ball. So I think bringing in Sadie for Lowry was an excellent choice from Messinho. It allowed Bishop to get more involved, and it allowed Sadie to ruffle a few Rovers' feathers and inevitably for us to get an equaliser.
Fred Scuttle said early days, new players need time to gel. Championship is on the horizon. Eisner must be really excited. Reece was saying earlier on that we got the feeling that we'd score at some point, but as the chances came and went, there was a real sense of it not being our day. Yengi's strength for that goal is excellent too, as well, Gaz. And I know Dill's saying it reminds him a little bit of Joe Pigott. I actually thought he's scoring the goal. It reminded me a little bit of George Hurst, actually. That kind of I'm going to win this ball. No one else is getting it. Yeah. He's in the box there, and it's got that feel about it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, he's got that sort of poaching mentality, you know. Yeah, he knows that the ball's going to come across. Because to be fair, most of our crosses yesterday, they weren't the best, if I'm honest. We seemed to go very long, very back post, like, you know. It wasn't like crosses into the middle, like. But that's going to come with time, and I think Bishop, for sure, is definitely going to be he's going to be assisting a lot more this season, I think, to what's around him, because that's what Bishop does well. Bishop's good with the head, so he's going to, he's also good at holding the ball up as well, and he can play people in. So yeah, it was nice to see yesterday of a goal like Yengi getting his debut goal in front of the Fratton end, and he's going to be buzzing now. He's playing for his place, and he hasn't come across all the way from Australia to just sit on the bench. He's here to play football, and he's going to we can only do catapult him onto the next level, and hopefully that'll be with us in the Championship next season.
Whose dog is that barking? Because it's not Aaron's, because he's on mute.
It's not mine.
Was it your dogs, mate?
I have got some dogs outside fighting. There's like a park outside, but it might be.
I didn't think it was mine at first.
I've got some money on the white one. It's like
it's the Maltese dogs barking at the background. Not a problem at all, mate. That's fine. Sarah said, I think we have to wait and see where we are when Pompey are 10 games in. Definitely positives to take. Bishop needs someone to play off. Sadie is quickly going to become a fan favourite. I think that is absolutely right. One other thing, I was just flashing them up on the screen there, Reece. The chances that Pompey had in that game, first half, second half, we'll run through them again, but merited, as I said at the end of the video, merited maybe a goal. Well, it definitely merited a goal, maybe even merited more than a goal, because there are some serious opportunities flying through on the screen at the minute, especially that one.
Mm.
And that one.
You can see the commitment there, Tom. There's a lot more commitment in that second half. It's like they want to, get that ball in as quick as they can. We've got some good playmakers in there, and I think shooting outside the box is something that we need to work on for sure. Instead of
also, we would have had to be fair, Bishop had the chance in the first half, which was deflected over. So fantastic defending, you could say, and that would have obviously made it a little bit easier and calm a bit more nerves in the crowd. But
Bishop was quite. He was quite. I think he was too close to the goal, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
It was almost. Yeah.
But it just shows you, like you say, piling on the pressure, wasn't we, yesterday in the end of the second half? And that's why I said earlier, you could feel there was a goal coming, because once you're shooting down the Fratton end with obviously the way that we were going and piling on the pressure, the subs making a huge difference coming on. Kamara, as you've obviously just alluded to in the highlights as well, I thought was fantastic when he came on. He's not had many minutes. He's played like 30 minutes in total for Norwich. Other than that, youth football. So yeah, you've got to give them credit for the second half performance and having that spirit to get back into it.
And give it a couple of like 10 games and everything. You see all them crosses and everything. Once we actually know how the team actually gels and they actually play with each other and they see the runs coming in, when them crosses go in, they will score. We're going to score loads of goals this season. We're going to have 2 players in the top 3 top goal scorers this year. I can see it. I can actually see it happening. So once they all gel together, then it's all go. Someone's going to screenshot that as well now. And but no, I reckon we're going to have fantastic season. I'm not going to tell you what my prediction is because I've written it in an envelope and I'm going to open it on the last game of the season. But I think we're going to be very, very good this year. Good evening, Andrew.
Evening, Fish Tank. Fish Tank, I think you've been drinking a fair bit of that piano water, mate.
Well,
sure.
I have been on the beer for the last 3 days as well. So it's just like...
this is probably what it is, mate. Yeah. No, I think we'll bang a few in. My opinion is, and Tom said it earlier, and you've all alluded to it. I think we put Larry on the bench and we start Sadie for sure. That would be my opinion at Leyton Orient. Get ahead of steam. If you give him 60 minutes, get 2 or 3-0 up, and then give Larry some time, like we did in the old days last season. I think he was as you say. I think it was Gaz said it. He was bossed out of it. He's a little guy, and he's a team like that. I mean, credit to Bristol Rovers. I thought actually they were much better than they were last season. They look like a half decent outfit, and a lot to get. Their goal was exceptional, wasn't it?
They made some good signings in the summer. You've got to realise that. I know Brown's obviously got controversial issues and things like that, but as a footballer, he's fantastic. We wanted him in January. You've got Scott Sinclair there. You've got the League One Player of the Season last year in Collins. And then there's Marquis.
Yeah, it's a danger man up front. So you got. That's what I'm saying to you. I think Bristol Rovers they'll be up there challenging. I think a little bit more. It'll be surprised a few people. And of course they got Barton, haven't they? What we say about Barton's what we say about Barton, and socially everyone knows what they feel. But at the end of the day, he knows his football, and I thought the credit to them. I thought they were a good outfit. To be fair to them.
And I would say also, just to throw one back at you, how much better is that squad and that starting 11 than it was when we left it 90 days ago?
No, fantastic. I think we've got a lot to look forward to, I think, this season. As we've all said, don't panic, Mr. Mannering. One game in, had we won that 5-1, as we said earlier, and we should have done, let's face it, those should have gone in. Ogilvy's left foot against the post. That's 2-1 and it's game all over then. And they did nothing in the second half. For me, Bristol Rovers did everything in the first half. We changed the game. It was only by a little bit of luck, I think, there, because Larry got a bit of a knock, didn't he? So he had to take him off rather than waited another 20 minutes, which was probably a bit. That's the only disappointing thing. I think Sadie, for me, has got to start now, showing what he showed.
Lovely. What we'll do is we'll move on. Thank you very much for the moment. I will. We'll get on to a little bit more. I was going to briefly chat about a certain Mr. Sam Allison who almost ruined the game for us yesterday. I think it needs addressing. Didn't quite get a chance to chat about it in the video. But we'll take a look at this in a little bit more detail. The first one here is fair enough. I think it's a mistake, but you can see in real time that that's a corner, right, from as far away as we are. You see the Fratton's reaction as well. Slow it down a little bit. There is absolutely no way that Sadie can have the last touch on that ball because his foot just doesn't go in that direction because he's facing the north stand. It's the left boot of the defender, clearly. Sam Allison nearby. The liner hasn't got a clue. Mistake is a mistake. Fair enough. We move on. This next one and the shout for the penalty is probably one of the worst I've seen for quite a while. I don't know how he doesn't give this. It is beyond. Look at the reaction from the Fratton end behind it. All the players. The ball is about to land right in front of Yengi here. So before he scores, James Wilson's holding on to him with both hands, pushes him to the floor, doesn't play the ball. Yengi's looking at the cross coming in, denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity. And for me, Gaz, he's got that one wrong. It's not a corner. That's a penalty all day long.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously the first one, he's looking at his assistant. He's looking for a bit of help maybe because, he can see the ball, but he's just looking for that help. That penalty there for me, that's stone wall for me. That's not just being biased because I'm a Pompey Blue fan. It's just for me, he can slow that down even in real time. It just looks like he's literally all over him, and it's not like he's dived. He's actually gone down because he's being tugged, and it's a blatant foul. Again, we've talked on loads of other shows about refereeing standard in this league. I'm hoping that it's got better. I wouldn't say he had a massively bad game, but yeah, there obviously there's going to be some standout decisions like the penalty. If that goes against us, say like Bristol Rovers if they didn't get that penalty, we'd be thinking, ooh, we got away with that one. Bristol Rovers would be thinking the same. Over the course of the season, we'll see how it all balances out.
Yeah, he was consistently poor as well, wasn't he? Both sides. So you don't mind when it's well, we do mind, but you know what I mean. If he was consistently poor for us and not for them, it's a little bit of a question. Justin said, dreadful ref decisions, just typical League One standard. Dan said, if he doesn't give the pen, he should at least have the decency to book him for diving. And Lee quite rightly says, if he was a better ref or lino, then he would be in the Prem. Reece, I know that corner would have been right in front of you, so I want to come to you on that one. Obviously, we'll be careful how much we berate referees. I saw someone yesterday say that there's a trend of blaming bad referees and losing at home. Those two kind of go hand in hand, and you never really hear about how bad the ref was when we come away with 3 points. And 9 times out of 10 with a game, you win a game regardless of a poor referee if you've done it on merit. Nonetheless, Sam Allison was dreadful yesterday, wasn't he?
And yeah, I think it was Gaz that alluded to it, that half the time he had no clue about the decisions being made himself. He couldn't see it for whatever reason. And actually, it wasn't just the penalty instances or any decisions that we felt should have gone our way. Or, for example, there was a few for Bristol Rovers as well, I believe, to be honest with you. But when it came to like throw-ins and things like that, the lino had no clue, or even on his own side, if it was obviously their throwing, our throwing, the ref had no idea. You can clearly see because there was at least 5-10 seconds before they actually made a decision amongst them. So you can see the uncertainty with it all. And unfortunately, in a professional game, you need to be making clear-cut, decisive decisions that will obviously benefit the game itself. And obviously, it has a huge impact on the game. But yes, that Yengi one, unbelievable that wasn't given. I've seen a lot softer penalties given down the Fratton end in my time of going. And yeah, there's 1 or 2 other decisions that you have to question. And I don't know, has he done many games in the Championship?
So this will be his first season in the Championship. Yeah,
that's absolutely crazy in my opinion, because I've seen referees at lower divisions, especially when we used to be in League Two, that have been much better and more consistent with making decisions and being fair to the game than he has. So yeah, that's all I'll say on the matter with him.
Yeah, he wasn't great. And you're right. How many of those pens have we seen given at Fratton? Let's crack on, shall we? These are our player ratings for yesterday. Last little bit on Bristol Rovers. Do any of those that you're massively in agreement with there, or any that you'd probably dispute and say you're not massively on board with?
I think Norris was all right. He hasn't given me much confidence from the first 2 games, which I hope he grows on me and grows on everyone. But there was a couple of decisions that he made in the first half when he come out of his box, and I was thinking, this is like Josh Griffiths all over again, where you can't trust your keeper. I think Regan Poole deserves to be higher. Don't think Towler had his best of games, maybe against Bristol Rovers, obviously his boyhood club's rival. Ogilvie, I thought was standard, but I thought Sparks was better. And yeah, I think it was mainly 6 out of 10s, but for majority of the players that come off of the bench, it was 7 out of 10s at least.
Yeah, I don't think there's any arguments to that. Aaron, any you'd change?
No, I completely agree with Dylan, actually. So I think the ratings are quite accurate, really. Yeah, like you said about keeper. Yeah, I think once he actually learns not to come out and do stupid things like he did yesterday, because your heart sinks when he comes out, it's thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? And if Raggett was there in defence as well, we could have gone a couple of goals down. I'm glad Raggett wasn't playing. I think his time's up anyway. But well, I think once that team learns to play with each other properly, week in, week out, I think these silly little mistakes and everything they're doing, get it done at the beginning of the season. Because we can't afford to have a bad patch for over Christmas like we normally do. Get the bad patch out the way now early, and then just progress and get gelled and then everything, and then just go for it.
And Gaz, just finally, as Mr. Player Ratings, any of those that you're on board with or want to argue and dispute against?
I mean, not so much disputing. Like, it would just be nice if we could see these like more in green, like, you know, up a bit. Especially you can see maybe the midfield needs to up their game a little bit. Again, we're being a little bit, you know, criticism because it's only after 1 game, like, you know. So we have some sides like it's like 10 games in or 20 games in. So it's a bit harsh to give them some sort of ratings, like. But yeah, for me, the four guys that came on second half, they'd probably have a better rating than the starting 11, if I'm honest, because they changed the game when they came on. So yeah, onwards and upwards, my friend.
He was good when he Rafferty. He was absolutely class. I disagree with you actually, Dale. I think and I said to you on the phone yesterday. Will Norris, I think he did all right. I think he's more than merits the 7.5, but I appreciate it is heart in your mouth, about to have a heart attack when you see him try and play the ball, because he got a little bit close to a couple of hairy moments. Simon summary is don't panic. Absolutely, Simon gained week 1 and 1 out of 46. Adam said best hangover cure. Cheers, lads. Great to have you with us. Poirier. Right, let's very quickly crack on. We've got a little bit more to go. We're going to chat League One very quickly. Tino Anjorin we're going to talk about, and then Leyton Orient to end us up at 8 o'clock. Barnsley kicked off their League One campaign in style, putting 7 past Port Vale. Blackpool and Bolton also got off to good starts. Cambridge were too much for Oxford at the Abbey. 2 cracking goals made it 1 apiece between Carlisle and Fleetwood. Charlton got off to a winning start at the Valley. Wigan capitalised on Derby's opening day mistakes. And Exeter scored one of the fastest goals we've seen in League One of late and came out with an emphatic 3-0 win at Adams Park. That is how the rest of it is looking. I was about to flash the table up on the screen, but I thought it was absolutely 0 point in us doing that. So because we're going to probably wait until 10 weeks of 4-0 Sunday Live to do that for you. Let's get on to Tino Anjorin, or what we should maybe call the last transfer that Pompey have made it official that we're likely to make. We heard the news earlier on today, and if you haven't seen it, various different places reporting. I believe he might have said it to Andy Moon or Neil Allen, but Michael Eisner reckons it will either be today or tomorrow. And given it's now 7:47 on Sunday evening, I reckon it may well be tomorrow. But we might see something this evening. Who knows? We might get to the end of the show, come off 4-0 Sunday Live, and have a Danny Cowley sacking again, where we have some big news right as we come off air. If we are, though, to join the dots, Reese, we can take a pretty good guess that the number 10 that Pompey are working on is Tino Anjorin, albeit there is nothing official to link the two, and we'll work on the view that they might well be. There is another name that's flashed around as Jensen Weir, but I don't really see any kind of official links or anything like that. But then have we really seen any official links for Pompey's transfer business? So not a lot to work on. Two sides to this argument with him. On the one hand, you could say he's 21. He's played in the Premier League, Champions League, scored in the Europa League, represented England from under 15s to under 20s level. Sorry, that's one side. The other side of the coin is he's very much struggled to stay fit in his career so far. He can stay consistent enough to deliver that. Can he stay consistent enough to deliver the goal and assist return we need from him? The third side to the coin, if you can have one, which you can't have a third side to a coin, is to never judge a player before he's kicked a ball in a Pompey shirt, and that we desperately need someone of his profile to fill that gap. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely spot on with that analysis, actually, mate. I do hope it isn't tonight that it's announced and we have to jump back on there to discuss it.
Oh, we won't jump back on. Don't worry.
I've still got birthday cake to finish, as I mentioned earlier, so that's got to be done priorities, unfortunately. But no, being serious now, I think that he's clearly shown in the past that he can play at a higher level than League One, of course. He's playing the Championship for Huddersfield. He scored against Marseille in the Europa League. And I've looked at the highlights because just like any fan does, when you're linked with a player, whether that's a reliable source or not, you get really, really excited about it. Also, you look into it and the highlights look fantastic. But like you say, fans of clubs that he's played for have consistently said that due to injuries, there wasn't enough of his potential to be shown. And that's one thing I'm worrying about, because as every Pompey fan knows, over the last couple of seasons, what it's been like with injuries at the club. We've got players on the payroll that just aren't cutting it due to the injuries itself. And we don't want another player like that. However, you did say he's young. He's got obviously that on his side with everything moving forward as a professional footballer. And also we know about his quality. And at a League One level, which is lower than what he has been playing at, you have to obviously look at that as the biggest positive, that he would be fantastic in the league that we're currently in. And if that means he's here for a season and he obviously has a fantastic input here and there due to injuries, then we're all for it. If he gets us into the Championship, then you have to look at it that way for the season, because it is more than likely be a lone player coming in. And if it's only for the season, and like I said, if he gets enough games under his belt, he stays fit enough and he shows his quality, nobody should be moaning.
Graham said, agree with your view, lads. Let's get the teething problems out the way early and kick on. Dill, where do you stand on Tino Anjorin, mate? He's obviously got this semi-impressive pedigree, I suppose we could say. Obviously coming from Premier League opposition. Reece is saying how he could play an awful lot higher, given his injury record has maybe inhibited his career a little bit. Would that be the missing piece for you? Do you think Pompey complete the jigsaw if someone, either him or like him as a profile, is to come into the club either today or tomorrow, as we're led to believe?
Yeah, from what I've heard, there's a punter at work that's a Huddersfield fan that comes in most days, and he said when he was on loan with them, the skill he brings to the side and the way he can distribute a ball left to right, and then obviously pop up with a goal every now and then as well, and the chances he creates is really exciting. And he says, like, you know, for a young player, you'd assume that he's, you know, in his prime sort of thing. So it's definitely something to get excited about. Obviously, there's also the injury that hangs over him, or the injuries that hang over him. But you've got to look at it as a fresh player. You know, he's not going to join the club if he's failed a medical or if they're not necessarily happy with him. So I think, you know, whether it be an impact to come off the bench or someone to start writing behind Colby, I think it's definitely someone that we should be excited for.
And Gaz, the other name that I think is probably less of a rumour and more of a want for Pompey fans, and I consider myself as one of them, is Jensen Weir. How important, maybe not particularly specifically the players and their profiles, because we don't know an awful lot about them, but that role that they're going to play, that little sitting in, probably the hole that Sadie filled in the second half, but where Lowry kind of was in the first half, but wasn't, where balls were dropping to. Really important to fill that gap.
Yeah, we need someone that can distribute. We need someone that can, you know, ping that ball left and right. Can obviously break up play as well. We need. That's what we were crying out for last season. Be nice if we could get these guys in the next couple of, well, maybe probably today or tomorrow, just so we can start bedding them in quickly, like, you know. But yeah, the good thing is they're young players. So there's no reason why, you know, it's not like we're going to get an old guy that's going to be just coming here just to sit on the bench and nothing. We actually need someone that actually can, you know, go in there and do a job. We've got definitely talent. It's just getting all the jigsaw puzzles together, like, in it, so we have the full picture. I'm excited. I think if he comes in, he's a young, what's his name, Tito? Oh, I forgot what his name was now, was it?
Tino.
Tino. No, it was Tito then. It was like Tino. Yeah, like you say, it could be a gamble. He can make, you know, it depends on his injuries, but he's obviously talented. He's obviously been scouted from a young age. He hasn't played a great deal amount of football, shall we say? But yeah, if he does that job for us, bring him in.
Thanks to Fred, who says he's enjoying the show as usual. Aaron, we're going to fight on and crack on. We've only got just under 7 minutes left here on 4-0 Sunday Live. We're going to talk about the upcoming Leyton Orient game. We are off to the home of League Two champions next weekend. Little Reece will be here with us here on 4-0, and I'm sure Dill will be too. A team that have done well over the summer recruitment-wise, including bringing a certain Joe Pigott into their side. What are you expecting from next weekend?
I think any team that comes up into the league after being champions, they're going to be hard to beat anyway, because they've got something to prove anyway, because they have come up as champions. I think it'll be a difficult game, but all games are going to be difficult. If you want to win the you want to win the league, you got to try and beat everyone. And it doesn't matter where you go, if it's at home or away. It doesn't matter what position they finished last year. You just got to play for that 90 minutes and get the goals in, and you got to beat what's in front of you. All games this season is going to be hard and difficult. If we want to progress and get out and get into the championship, it's going to be tough week in, week out. It doesn't matter. So we've got the strength and depth in our team. No loan signings. Got a squad that's going to be with us for a few years. We just got to go for it. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting game, very exciting game. And every time we go to Orient, it's always a bogey ground to go to. Over the last few seasons, it just hasn't gone our way at times. We should have won games over the last few years. But is this the year that we're going to actually put to bed all our bogey teams and just start beating them? Hope so. Fingers crossed.
Dill, I'm sure you know this already. I'm going to remind everyone on the chat and perhaps even on the panel. If we weren't, well, you'll know exactly as soon as I've said it. But the last time we played Leyton Orient back in 2017, a certain Mr. Connor Chaplin scored twice, and 5 months later we won the league on the last day. Nice little throwback for many, I'm sure. I don't know if anyone was, well, I'm sure people may be watching this afternoon when he nearly scored a David Beckham from the halfway line at the Stadium of Light for it to come careering off the crossbar. I looked up at my screen. I was like, oh my word, Connor, you're not about to do the spectacular. And sadly he didn't, because that would have been unbelievable. What are you expecting from next weekend, mate? You fancy an away day win for the first time in the 23-24 season? Yes, you, mate. Yeah, listen up as best you can. I did say Dill, but you know.
You started waffling about Connor Chaplin. I don't care about him. He's at Ipswich. I obviously want a away day win because I've been begging for it. I mean, Derby was the best away game to close out the season. I think we had the best 2 away games at the start and end of the season. Obviously, I want an away day win. You know, a sold out away end is going to be hopefully much limbs. But Leyton Orient did very well against Charlton yesterday and were unlucky to not come out with a point like Bristol Rovers did with us. So I don't say I've got high expectation, but I just feel like another nitty-gritty game that will be won either way by 1 goal. But it still means that I'm very excited for it, mate.
Gaz, you expecting a tight affair, as Dylan's suggesting?
Not at all. No, I think basically, I think there'll be a new team starting on Saturday than it was yesterday, and I think we're going to batter them 3-0.
Nice.
That's
like
my
that.
expectation.
Top stream.
Sorry,
Gaz,
go on,
carry on.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying, yes, they've been newly promoted and all that, but I still think we're on paper we're a better team, and by next Saturday we'll have sorted our life out.
I think so. And Tuesday night helps, of course, doesn't it, Aaron? You've got a cup game in the week. It's more, I'd say, minutes in the legs because that's kind of followed us around for pre-season. But I'm sure some of the boys that are maybe slightly, I don't want to say not match fit, but maybe on the cusp of being ready for the first team, get an opportunity to get themselves out there on Tuesday. And then we head into Saturday, all guns blazing.
Yeah, Tuesday is the opportunity for some of the players, new players as well, to actually prove to the manager why they should be in the starting 11 for the following Saturday. They've got to put in an effort. I think you're going to see a much passionate game on Tuesday night against Forest Green, only because you've got such a big squad now, and now they're fighting for their places. And if they do a good effort and everything and actually start creating that conversations between the players, who's going to be actually working next Saturday. So, yeah, it's going to be I think we're going to absolutely annihilate Forest Green on Tuesday. I think there's going to be about 3-4 different players scoring. I'm not going to actually say any score predictions because I got absolutely mocked last season. Every single
Aaron,
thing.
we've got to do score predictions, mate. That's a main part of the show.
Well, I reckon on Tuesday night, it's going to be 5-1.
Oh, okay. Maybe you should have kept it to yourself then. Fair play.
You're going to see a different attitude from the players, and they need a point to prove. And I think against Forest Green on Tuesday, it's going to be 5-1, and we're going to let in and then we're going to go 1-0 down first.
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's like a bus stop in the middle of the Cotswolds. I'm not expecting much of an atmosphere. And if anyone's wondering, by the way, myself and a certain young man are going to be heading to Forest Green for some strange reason on Tuesday night. I won't be making a video, but I might add a little bit into Saturday's episode when we're off to Leyton Orient. Kit said too early to make judgment, get a few more games under the belt, and we might get a better idea of what lies ahead. Right, so fish tank's gone for 5-1. Plenty of beverages and fish water been drank over there in Watford, I can see from the weekend. Lee mentions a Fournilwrittenalloverit all over it win. Get your score predictions in the comment section down below, everybody, and we'll get through those in the next sort of 30 to 40 seconds or so. Reese boy, what we saying?
Well, if it's 5-1 on Tuesday, I'll buy Aaron a bloody goldfish for his fish tank, to be fair. That's a promise, mate. Clip that. No, it's going to be 2-0, mate. Ben Stevenson's going to start against his old club. A few changes like that, and I think it'll be a really nice run out for some fringe players. So, yeah, 2-0 for Tuesday.
Shane said those predictions are always spot on. He predicted 1-1 yesterday and got a lot right
So
last season. As Reese did.
Reese,
yes,
don't steal my credit, mate. Come on.
I'm not going to read the last little bit because that might make his head even bigger, Shane. So thanks for that. Score, Dale?
Tuesday, I agree with a 2-0, and I don't want to say Saturday yet.
No, mate, it's just the same as Fish Tank. We've got to say Saturday. It's part of the show, isn't it?
I know, but I don't know.
Sorry,
I'm not saying it. Save it for the video.
2-1 Saturday. 2-1 Saturday, I'm going.
2-1 Saturday. Dale, it's 8 o'clock, mate. Say your score prediction.
I'm saving it for the video Saturday. Make sure you watch it.
Video Saturday is going to be difficult. Smash is going for 2-0, 4-0. Through on Pompey from PFC Jack. Pompey in it, Mercedes 1-0 like Raggett last year. Harry Yates, Cornwall. I don't know if that's your surname, Harry, or you're from Cornwall, but either way, he's going for a 4-0 Writtenalloverit win. Dan Richardson, the legend, is saying 2-0 Pompey. Tuesday, 4-0 from Simon, 2-1 both PFC. 3 on Pompey, 1-3 Pompey. It's a fluke guessing scores, right? Sometimes you can see it coming, they can't. It's all part of the fun of prediction. Scott was here, is saying 1-3 to Portsmouth. 2-1 Tuesday, 1-0 Saturday from PFC Jack. 2-1 Saturday from Ryan. Gaz, it's just gone 8 o'clock, mate. So give us your score prediction, finish off the show, and we will end on with a special little clip that I'd like to play for everyone. But before we do, Gazza, 2 scores, if you would, mate.
So Forest Green, 4-0 Writtenalloverit. Leyton Orient, 3-0. Pompey win.
From all of us, from Andrew, who's no longer here, he's still around, but he's not here. From the gang, from Fish Tank, from Reese, who is his birthday tomorrow. So big happy birthday to you, Reese. Dill as well, who won't say score prediction, and Gaz away from Malta. Thanks for watching. Keep the faith, everybody. We'll see you, or I might see some of you on Tuesday night. We'll definitely see you Saturday for the video. And as always, play up Pompey.
Play up Pompey.
Play up Pompey.
I'm a strange lady, she made me nervous. She took me in and gave me breakfast. She said, "Do you come to